was told I was supposed to speak on the peace formula. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all whatever the title is. It's the same message anyway. Just give up all your nonsense ideas and just surrender to Krishna. Either you come this way or that way or another way. It's the same thing anyway. I was going to say that's a strange title for Bombay, because who's interested in peace here? Especially the young people. They all get on motorbikes. Where's the peace? So, a message to youth of India. Yeah, it's an important subject, especially for the youth of India, of which you are a sample here. India is the most important country in the world. I'm not flying a Jai Hindustan flag here, but it's according to Shastra, Veda. Veda means knowledge. Actual knowledge. In the schools and colleges, what you learn that can be called knowledge, but in Shastra we have the term Gyan, but it doesn't mean how engineering and all this kind of thing. Gyan means to know the self. So Shastra is concerned with that, and according to Shastra, this land is the most important in the universe. Now the scientists are very interested to go to different planets. What's the point? They messed up this planet, they want to go somewhere else and mess that up also. But what's the point? Anyway, we're going to different planets. Brahmanda Brahmite, what's that? Eto Brahmanda Bhari, Ananta Jivagan. Chaurashi Lakha Jonite Karye Brahman. In this Brahmanda, see, the word is, every word is very important. Brahmanda. Anda means shaped like an egg. The universe is shaped like, actually even the word universe, that's an English word obviously, is not a very accurate term, because it means there's only one. Uni means one. But there are so many Brahmandas. Each of them is overseen by a Brahma, the creator. This is Vedic knowledge. You won't find out, the scientists, they won't agree with this. They say, we saw a telescope, we didn't see any Brahma. You can get more and more telescopes, you'll never find Brahma. Brahma, the creator of this universe. He's not visible by telescopes. So Veda means knowledge, and all knowledge is there, required. I was saying, Eta Brahmanda Bhariyananta Jivagan. Anyway, we're traveling. Chaurasi Lakha Jonite Karyeva. We've already traveled all over the universe in 84 lakh species of life. So Veda gives knowledge of everything within the universe and beyond the universe. There are now the scientists, they have this word multiverse. There's some speculation they have that there are more than one universe, which means it's not a universe, because there should be only one. The Vedas already have that. They already describe that. There are multiverse. There are so many Brahmandas. Brahmanda is the term. For everything, the whole material world put together is Jagat. Sometimes Jagat is translated as universe, but more precise is the term Brahmanda. Then all the material world together is called Jagat or Vishva. So these are scientific terms. Scientific in the sense they have meaning. Every word has a meaning. It's not just some. In English, you may say tree. What does it mean? Well, it means a tree. Yeah, it means a tree. Yeah. But it doesn't have any. It's just a sound which is attributed to a genre or a class of plants. How do you say tree in Hrvatsky? Tirova. Tirova. In Croatian, it's called a tirova. Anyway, I can't. It's your language. Anyone interested to learn Croatian? I think they may, if you teach them French or German, they might be interested in learning Croatian. But in Sanskrit, the word is vriksh. That's one of the words, vriksha, which means that which is liable to be cut. Is that right? You don't know. So, it's vriksha, that which is cut. Or there are other words. That's the common word for tree. There are other words also. Padapa, which means that drinks through the leg. So like this. It's all very scientific. Ved means knowledge. Now there was some eclipse recently, right? This they knew in advance it was coming, right? All the scientists knew. They could calculate by looking through their telescopes. They know something. They don't say they're completely foolish. Yeah, put off your phone, please. So there's also the Vedic science of Jyotish, right? How do you translate Jyotish? What's the English word for Jyotish? Astrology. What about astronomy? How about that? Astrology is based on astronomy, isn't it? Movements of the planets. You can't do astrology without astronomy. So by Vedic science, you can also predict, they also could tell when the Chandra Grahan or Surya Grahan is coming. So that means they knew. They also had that knowledge, just like we find in Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that Krishna, he went to Kurukshetra. And Krishna went to Kurukshetra, what for? For the Mahabharata fight? No, before that, he went. And so many people went from all over North India. Still they go when there is Grahan. No, not Kumbh Mela, that's in different places. Haridwar, Ujjain, Prayag, that means Allahabad and Nashik, they're the four main places of Kumbh Mela. So they went there, it means they had to travel, they had to go in advance, because they knew that the Surya Grahan is coming. So they want to be there in the holy place and bathe and give charity at that. So how did they know? How did they know? They weren't using telescopes. They had the knowledge. Knowledge is there. Vedic knowledge of the positions of the planets and how they're moving, and they could predict. So even materially, there's so much information in the Vedas, but the real point is to come to Vedanta. Vedanta means the end of knowledge, or the ultimate knowledge, perfect knowledge, the highest knowledge. That is knowledge of the soul, Atma Gyan. Yantra Gyan, that's also there. Modern world is enamored by this Yantra Gyan. But that's more for the demons, actually. Asuras, they're more interested in all these things. Saintly people, they're interested in Atma Gyan, most intelligent people. So why Bharata is in Shastra said it's the most important? You may think, well, naturally they said this is the most important because the Vedas were written in India. No, wrong. Vedas were not written. Who's the author of the Vedas? Vyasadeva. Wrong. Anyone else want to say who's the author? There's no author. No author. And how many books? So many books. Oh, I know. There were a bunch of monkeys jumping around on typewriters. That's how the Vedas came into being, right? You heard that one? If you have enough monkeys jumping around on typewriters, eventually they'll write all of Shakespeare's books. And that shows how, even though it's completely unlikely and impossible, everything just came into being without any order, without any plan. You heard that idea before? If you leave a bunch of monkeys with a bunch of type, of course they'll tear all the paper out, so you won't get any writing anyway. You never thought of that. But who is the author of the Ved? There is no author. How is that? Because Ved means knowledge. And the knowledge is about Atma and Paramatma. And Atma and Paramatma are eternal. So knowledge about them is also eternal. Knowledge is about something. Knowledge is in relation to something, right? Just like I always give the example of a microphone, because whenever I have to give an example, it's the thing which I have to, it's right in front of my face. Okay, so there's knowledge about this. There's a manual comes with it, right? When you buy this, there's a manual. Nowadays it's probably on the internet, PDF and all this. You may not even give manuals. Save trees. So there's knowledge about it. The existence of this object and knowledge about it, the knowledge comes automatically with its existence. The fact that it amplifies how it's built, how it works, that is inseparable from it. But it's not exactly the same thing, but it's inseparable. As soon as there is something, there's knowledge about it. So Atma, Paramatma, they're eternally existent. And the Vedas, they are knowledge about Atma and Paramatma. So they're eternal, it's eternal. So there's no author. It's called Apaurushaya. The Vedas are eternal. It's also said, Veda Narayana Sakshat. The Vedas, they come directly from Narayana because Narayana is the source of everything. So that's also true. Because everything is dependent upon Narayana. Everything exists. Because he exists. He's the substratum of everything. So that's also true. But in another sense, the Vedas are eternal. They're also dependent upon him because he is the origin of everything. So the Vedas are eternal, and they say that in all the universe, Bharata is most important. So it's not that just because someone was sitting in Bharata and writing, they said this is the most important. Otherwise everyone will say that. Someone who's in America will say, what's the most important country in the world? America. Someone who's sitting in Iceland, population 300,000 or something like that. How many times more is Bombay? I think. Who knows? Whatever it was 1 minute ago, it's probably 10 more right now. How many births are taking place in Bombay all the time? So, Bombay. See, I'm from the old generation. Bombay. You all say Mumbai, right? I still think Bombay, because I came there so many years ago. So, it's not that everyone will think their own place is the most important, but why is it the most important? It's not some gar se kaho, I'm Hindu, hai kind of thing. But actually it's the most important in the universe because what is the purpose of the earth? If we say some place is most important, mostly people think America's the most important country in the world, right? Why is it? Because it's supposed to be the most powerful, and people from India still want to go there and get a job there because you can earn more money there and you can enjoy it. There's some idea you'll enjoy yourself more and get more money there and all that kind of thing. So in the world where people are most interested in making money and enjoying yourself, America seems to be the best place. But this land is considered the most important in the universe by persons who understand that the real purpose of human life is to get free from birth and death. Labdva sudurlabamidang bahu sambhavante manusham artadam anityam apihantira turnam yateta napatedanumrita yavam nishrayasaya vishaya kalu sarvatasyat. If you want, you can print this verse and put it in your bedroom or hostel or whatever. Give the translation also. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, our Param Guru, Guru's Guru, when he was young, he kept this where he was sleeping. Every day he would see this verse. It means that this verse is spoken by Krishna. He says that having obtained this human form of life, which is attained after many, many births, one should understand that human life is very valuable. So that means that we're going through birth after birth after birth, and most of the time it's not human birth. There are so many species. Jalaja Navalakshani. There are 9 lakh species within the water. Sthabara Lakshavinshati. There are 20 lakhs of non-moving, so like this there are descriptions. There are birds and reptiles and insects and animals, and human life is very rarely obtained, but it's very valuable. And it's very short also, especially in the modern age. I was told this morning that life expectancy in Mumbai is only 52 years. Thanks to the pollution and stress, and probably also if you include the suicides, and then how many suicides, how many, maybe 10 a day, and on the trains, local trains, maybe 15 people average die a day. And if you include all the abortions, then it'll come down more. So many abortions. Very sinful activity. So life is very short. It's very valuable, but it's very short. It's very valuable because one can get free from birth and death in this life, which is not possible in any other form of life. Therefore, Krishna says, one should act in this human life in such a way that one will not get born again. And if you think, well, I can enjoy myself. After all, I'm in Bombay and there are so many things to do here. You know, there's some stupid people, they go to that Hare Krishna center and listen to all these talks, but Saturday night we should be in discos and parties and pubs and driving around on motorbikes. And what's life for? While you're young, live life to the fullest. That I wrote in that message to youth of India. People want to live life king size, and next life they get a birth, they can live dog size or ant size. That's what happens. You might be king dog in your next life. So this enjoy yourself, that's available in every species of life. Mosquito is also, bed bug is also enjoying. I got some nice blood. Ooh. For him, so nice. They're enjoying. Let's see. So nice, fresh. Oh. You haven't seen because you live in Mumbai. Maybe you saw on the YouTube. Everything's there on YouTube. The pigs like to eat stool. They're very happy, very good. What's going to happen to all the pigs in the village when there's this drive to have every village, everyone should have a toilet, right? Previously the toilet was the field. Then what are the pigs going to do? Poor pigs. And the price of pork will go up, I guess. And there'll be a protest. Pork price is too high. See, you eat stool and then the pig eats your stool and then you eat the pig. It's all Recycling. Recycling. Yeah. You don't eat pork, do you? That's all. I don't think. None of you eat pork. Any Muslims here? They don't eat pork. Right? Hindus, they may do, but mostly low class. Different castes, they may do. Mostly they don't. Please put off your cell phone. Everyone, please put off your cell phone. If you haven't done so, please do so now. I know it's a great source of joy in your life when your cell phone rings, but just put it off for now. We're giving you some severe austerities here. Human life is meant for God realization. That's the point. It's only possible in human life, and this land is especially suitable for that. This earth planet is particularly suitable for self-realization. There are various planets in the universe. In the heavenly planets, people are enjoying because they did pious activities, so they can dance with apsaras, and they can drink somaras, and they have the men have very big, strong bodies, and the women are all very beautiful. You like to go there? Sounds quite good, huh? You want to go there? The only problem, well, there's not only problem, it's the same problem as the whole material world. There's no real happiness there. You have to come down again. But people are so absorbed in being happy with material enjoyment that they're not inclined to spiritual life. And there are lower planets also where people are simply suffering because of sinful acts. Hellish worlds. The people, they say, oh, I don't believe in all this, but there's no hell, it's just an imagination. But there's hell right on this planet. Just like when you go on the local train, you go over that near Bandra, and for about 2 kilometers, terrible smell, right? Isn't it? It's been there for how many years? I mean, it was there in the 1970s, and it's still going on, right? So, that people are living there all the time. That's hellish. What to speak of all the bugs that are born there? It's a hellish existence. What about so many Indians, they want to go overseas? So okay, we'll send you to. We can have a lottery. Where you can go overseas. Oh, you won overseas. You can go to Syria. We'll send you to Syria. Anyone like to go to? Anyone like to go to Syria? Anyone? There are people from India who like to go and join the ISIS and join and get their brains blown to pieces by an American bomb. not a Pakistani bomb, American bomb. Pakistanis also use American bombs. So, hellish situation. Hellish, completely hellish. You're just living in your house, and any time you can be bombed. You don't know what's going on. There are so many different armies and different militias, and they're all fighting each other. And very hellish situation. So, the hellish situation on this planet, like the pig. Look at the pig's life. They're in hell. To be born as a pig is like being in hell. They like to eat horrible stool and all nasty things. They have sex with their mother and sister, and then someone comes and catches them and kills them. It's hellish existence. So there are hellish planets, and when people are in the hellish planets, they're being punished for sinful activities. In our Krishna Conscious movement, there are 4 sinful activities which are proscribed: meat eating, gambling, illicit sex, and intoxication. These are sinful activities. People who perform these sinful activities, they have to suffer hellish punishments. And even in this life, generally people who engage in these sinful activities, they have to suffer horrible diseases. So hellish diseases. So people who are suffering like that is suffering such intense suffering that it's very difficult for them to even think about the purpose of life, God consciousness. So either too much enjoyment or too much suffering is very difficult to think about the higher purpose of life. Who are we? Why are we here? What happens after death? Why are we suffering in this world? That is possible on this earth planet, to even think about such things. But at the present time, people don't think about such things. And if you think about such things, if you start to think, who am I actually? Just like I may say to you, you're supposed to be youth. So if you're youth, I guess that means under 30. So if I ask you, where were you 30 years ago? What will you say? What will be your answer? Where will you say? What will you say? Select some. Who would like to volunteer? Where were you 30 years ago? You may say, well, I didn't exist. You existed. You don't know how you existed, where you existed. So now if you're a youth, say 25, okay, put 3 more 25s together. Where will you be after 75 years? Well, probably be dead. That's not the answer. Where will you be? Who are you? Who thinks about such things? In the modern age, people are so degraded that, I was going to say that they don't even think such things. And even if you think such things, people are saying, why are you talking such things? Come on, just enjoy your life. Foolish, very foolish. But the earth planet is such a place where even people can think about such. They're not so much suffering that they're totally traumatized, and they're not so much enjoying that their mind is taken away by that enjoyment. They can think about these things, but the earth planet is especially this, and in the earth, especially this area, Bharatavarsha, that is especially favorable for understanding these things, and therefore Vedic knowledge is propagated traditionally, has been propagated here, and all the avatars, they mostly appear here. They may appear in Vamandev. Tomorrow we're celebrating Vamana Dwadashi. He actually appeared in the heavenly planets. Although his place of appearance, there is a facsimile of that here in this Bharatavarsha. Bharuch, maybe you've heard, Bharuch in Gujarat. That's on the bank of the Narmada. So Vamanadev appeared in the Narmada. He came to the place of Bali Maharaj's yajna on the Narmada in the heavenly planets. And the Narmada, which flows on this planet, on the northern bank of that is what is traditionally called Bhrigu Kutch, which in the present time is called Bharuch. So even though similarly Narasimhadev appeared in the heavenly planets because Hiranyakashipu had overrun the heavenly planets, but there's a facsimile of his place of appearance in, who knows, anyone know? Anyone here from Andhra Pradesh? Ahobila, Andhra Pradesh. So this land is specially meant for purification, for understanding the purpose of life, and for getting free from birth and death. Therefore, so many avatars appear here. So many holy rivers are here. The Vedic culture is here, even discussing such things. Therefore, this land is most important. Bombay is always, it seems like it's India, but it's not. It's been like that. That's the way people have been thinking about. I was just reading something written in the 1930s by an Englishman who arrived by boat. In those days, people came by boat mostly. And he said, "I arrived, but it's not really India. It's like the West. So it's always been very westernized. So you could say it's in between. But still, that Vedic culture is there in some way or other. Just like there's now Ganesh Chaturthi, which actually wasn't a very big festival. That was anywhere, but that was Lokmanya Tilak. He popularized this. Otherwise, it wasn't a very big. For political reasons, he popularized it. In India, the politics and religion, everything's mixed up with religion, one way or another, somehow or other. So, still, that advantage is there. Even born in this most westernized of Indian cities, still that culture is there to some extent. And one evidence of that is that you are all here today. Otherwise, why should you be here when you could? Saturday night, the one time in the week when you can really enjoy yourself. The whole purpose of life is to enjoy yourself, and you work hellishly for 6 days, and Saturday night is the time you can enjoy yourself. So why did you come here? Because you're very intelligent. Yeah, that's a fact. I'm very fortunate also to have this opportunity. Very fortunate that devotees are going and meeting students and others and inviting them to come. So the message to the youth of India, it's the same as the message to everyone, which is properly utilize your valuable human form of life. Don't waste it simply on sense gratification. What is it? Don't waste it simply in what do? People, they work, earn money, get married, get divorced, get married again, and then they die. Useless. Completely useless life. Waste of a human life. And then what happens after that? They become an animal. Why? Because they misuse their human life. They wanted just to enjoy, so better if you just want to enjoy, then you be a pig or a dog. Because a pig or a dog doesn't have to go to work and have stress and anxiety. A pig is very happy. Living very happily. Nice fresh food. Now the governments are stopping. The governments are stopping that with their toilet programs. Otherwise, they're very happy, and they don't have any marriage, and they don't have any provident funds or taxes, any such thing. So they're very happy. But it's hellish and foolish. Human life is meant for better life than the pigs and dogs. Nayang deho deha bhajang riloke kashtan karman arhate vidpujam tapodivyam putraka yena sabdam shudyed yasmat brahma sokyam tvananta. This was spoken here in this land of Bharata to Bharat, is the first son of Rishabdev, who spoke this. He said that do not waste your life living like a pig or a dog. That's how the father instructs. That's how the father should instruct the sons. The pigs and the dogs, they like to eat excrement. Don't live your life like that. Oh, but Papa, I don't eat excrement. Yeah, but you're just like that. If we're simply interested in sense gratification, it's just like the pig, or maybe not so gross, but it's the same thing. So one should engage in divine austerity for the sake of attaining Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam, unlimited spiritual bliss. That is the possibility in human life. Now in the modern age, if we speak about austerity, that culture is gone. Previously in this land there were so many very austere sadhus and yogis and even ordinary people, especially the women, they would do fasting for their husband. Anyone do that anymore? I don't think so. Is it not in Bombay for sure? That's gone. There's no austerity. But at least some minimal austerity should be there. Otherwise there's no chance of purification. We can't live like a pig and become purified. Saturday night means you enjoy, and Sunday means you sleep as long as you can. Is it? Sleeping. This is right. This is hellish pleasure to want to sleep more and more. So Rishabdev says, live your life, same thing. Live your life for self-realization. So this is a message to the youth of India. This is your good fortune to have a human birth in this life, in this land, in the time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission is spreading. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, Bharata bhumite hoilo manusha janma ja janma shata kari karo para upaka. Those who are fortunate to have a human birth in the land of India, or Bharata. Bharat's a better term. India is some gift of the British, the name. They should janma shartak, make their life meaningful. Otherwise, meaningless life, simply eating, sleeping, passing stool, dying. Make their life meaningful or successful, and do good for others. Do good for others. People think, oh, I should build a hospital. What's the use? People, they go to a hospital and they die anyway, sooner or later. Either you die sooner, but what's the use if you're living a life without knowledge of the self? Then either you die at the age of 40, or you die at the age of 60, or you die at the age of 80 even. Actually, it's better you die earlier, because then you'll do less sin. But it's all meaningless. And opening schools to teach people all kinds of useless information, which makes them think, oh, now I'm very educated. Makes them more in Maya, more ahankar. If you're uneducated, anyway you're a fool, and if you become educated, then you become a bigger fool, because then you think, now I know something, but you don't know anything of any real importance. Now I have knowledge by which I can, instead of driving a rickshaw, I can, be a chartered accountant or something like that. But it's all, whether you waste your life as an auto driver or as a chartered accountant, it's all wasted. Unless one knows this Atma Gyan, Brahma Gyan. What is the difference between the body and the self? This is basic ABC knowledge. No one is teaching this. Which government is best? BJP, Congress, and what else? Here in Bombay, Shiv Sena. They're all useless because they don't teach Atma Gyan. They say you have to have education, but they don't teach anything of any real importance. They're all just cheating. You work, you study, they all have the idea, study, then you can get a job, and then what's the point? Your whole life is wasted. So don't waste your life. Now you got this birth in India. You have the opportunity to understand what is real knowledge, what is the real purpose of life. You don't have to die. Don't have to die. Again, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. You don't have to do this anymore. You can stop this time, this horrible suffering of birth and death, by taking to Krishna consciousness. So Especially youth, they have an opportunity. Older people, they're set in their ways. They have so many obligations. Youth is the time for learning, especially youth. All of life is meant for learning, but especially youth. So learn this knowledge. What is the difference between the body and soul? What is the real purpose of life? Who is God? What is our relationship? All this is taught in this Krishna conscious movement. And it's not just some theoretical knowledge, very practical also, very practical process. How one can become spiritually advanced. How can one become spiritually advanced? Then you have to go to Himalayas. No, you can become spiritually advanced right here in this hellish city, right here. This very materialistic city can become. This Bombay wasn't developed for spiritual advancement. There's no such thought. But you can become fully spiritually advanced right here in Bombay by following the process of Krishna consciousness. So do it, that's the message. Hare Krishna, I'll stop there. Is there any question, please? Do we have another mic? No? No questions? Any newcomers have any questions? Questions, objections? Objections also? Can give. Okay, you say what you want.
Maharaj, as you told in the lecture that the modern education is misdirecting us and not teaching us the real goal of life.
I said that, yeah. I said modern education. And it's a fact.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
And at the same time, Maharaj, in order to expand our preaching and reach out to these people in this world, technology is very, very helpful. So
Technology is helpful, yeah, for spreading Krishna consciousness in the modern world, yeah.
Technology is very, very helpful. So
Yeah.
How to understand that on the one hand,
You don't have to become a technologist. Some fool and rascal is already doing all this. You take advantage. People are wasting their lives working in factories and doing research. So you can use it. You can utilize it. They'll also be benefited. If you, just like this microphone, if we use this to speak about Krishna, whoever invented this, they weren't thinking, oh, now people can speak about Krishna. They weren't thinking like that. We can use, they're utilizing it for sense gratification, and we can utilize it for Krishna, that's all. But we also want to show a better way of life. For that purpose, we're making farm communities, as Srila Prabhupada wanted. Living very simply, without all these things. So people can live as people lived previously, traditionally, with no electricity, no running water, no air conditioners. Live very simply, produce your own food, and chant Hare Krishna. So we're also demonstrating that. Do you feel hot?
No electricity.
In the summer, sure, it's hot.
So what time is that?
So what do you get used to it, that's all. In the summer, you close in the midday, you close all the windows. Here, Jai Nityanand, you've been living there since the beginning, huh? Okay, you come and tell him about how do you live in the summer in Gujarat, in the farm?
Come in the front.
You can't imagine, although people have been living like that for generations. Now there's 1-2 generations, they can't imagine. Go on, tell them.
So, actually by practice we get used to it. So, in the beginning we had some problem, but now it's okay. We don't even use pens. In the beginning we were using pens and pens.
Yeah.
So now we are not using it. Actually, when I came to Bombay, I got exposed to this air conditioner. I was suffering it.
I also don't like it.
I couldn't sleep because of this AC. So with this air conditioning, their mind also got so much condition. They cannot live without it. So
In the summer it's very hot, and then you just, in the midday you just go inside, you close everything up, so the hot air stays out. That's all. And you wait till the evening till it's a bit cool. Then again you come out again. But devotees there are so happy. They're so happy. Why? Because morning and evening they all come together and chant Hare Krishna. Krishna consciousness makes you happy. That's a fact. Actually, you suffer more in the city because all the time you have to have air conditioning. So many. If it's not just right, then you feel uncomfortable. But if in the farm, you just, whatever, how it is, it's hot or cold, you just adjust. That's all. It's in the mind more than anything else.
Maharaj, nowadays we find that for youth preaching especially, we adopt a lot of indirect methods to preach rather than the direct methods which we saw during Prabhupada's times of book distribution and speaking strongly. So, is there a balance? Can that be struck between the two methods?
Strike a balance between. What is indirect preaching anyway? What does that mean? Preaching means to tell people that you have to utilize this human form of life to understand that we're not the body, we're eternal soul, we're eternal part and parcel of Krishna. How can you say that? How do you say that indirectly? No, tell me, how do you say that indirectly? Can you rephrase that in a way? Indirectly means you're trying to say it, but you don't want people to hear it because you're afraid they won't like it. How do you do that? You're trying to tell them something, but you don't, at the same time not tell them. Is it? I don't understand, I'm sorry. I'm a dinosaur. They call me a dinosaur. Should have been extinct. I don't know. I don't understand it. Sorry. I can't answer this question. I don't understand what indirect preaching is.
So, Maharaj, basically you're saying it's better to just be direct and...
No, but preaching means to give people knowledge that they require. So, if you don't give it, either you give it or you don't. How do you inform people without telling them? I don't understand. How is it possible? Could you please stop shining that light in my face? Thank you. You can tell. Tell people, you're not this body, you're eternal spirit soul. That's required to tell them. How do you say indirectly?
Bridge preaching.
Yeah, but what do you say actually?
Bridge preaching.
Instead of telling them that human life is meant for God realization, what do you say?
Not like indirectly, it's like maybe not telling.
No, tell me. Okay, you're preaching to me now, indirectly. You have to tell me that human life is meant for God realization. Tell me indirectly.
Just bringing them to the level.
No, tell me. What do you say?
Just trying to bring you to the level of, Sattva and then, like, not directly give the message.
Don't directly give the message. Okay, give it indirectly then. That's what we're talking about.
That, it's not so good here.
It's not so good here.
Yeah.
Where? You don't know. So.
I'm just saying what other devotees, are trying to do.
No, but what do they say actually? I mean, told about indirect preaching. What do you say to people? There must be something said, right?
Yeah, so helping them in their material lives to make it more better, making their relationships better.
Making their relationships better in material life.
Yeah, bringing them to the mode of goodness basically.
Mode of goodness begins by understanding that we're not the body. Mode of goodness means concerned with self-realization. So you mean making friends with people in a mundane way.
By doing filtrate and then,
I don't know. You can tell people you're not the body, you're eternal spirit soul. Those who are sincere and serious, they'll take it. I made a book about this on speaking strongly in Srila Prabhupada's service. I discussed about that there. This idea of making friends and then gradually you bring people in, maybe teaching about Ayurveda or yoga, and then gradually bring them Krishna. So what happens, you get a lot of people in the beginning, that's the idea. If we teach people how to live a healthy life, there'll be many more people. If we teach people you can do exercises so that you'll be strong and fit and you can enjoy life more, many people will come. Okay, so gradually you have to bring people to the point of understanding we have to surrender to Krishna. So gradually the number of people will become less and less and less. Right? Maybe after 2 years, you start off with a group of 200 and you end up with 2 or 3. Right? And still because you're still talking to others about, actually life in the world is good and you have to get big muscles and then you can enjoy yourself, whatever, indirect preaching. So you're doing indirect preaching, direct, so they may be confused and you have to tell them, well, actually all that stuff I told you previously was nonsense and really you have to, because it's nonsense. The other thing you can do is just tell people directly, human life is meant for God realization, don't waste your life. You'll get 2 or 3 people right at the beginning. And you can take them seriously from the beginning and train them properly from the beginning. So, that's how Prabhupada spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. It was very successful. By having firm faith in the message of Bhagavad Gita as reality. I'm afraid of all this indirect preaching, that we'll end up with hundreds of people who, It may be many people, but they're all indirect. And we make a whole more and more in everything. Don't tell them that you're not the body. They're not ready. And it's all, everything becomes indirect. So it looks good. Anyway, this is... anyway, you can see that book that's on speaking strongly in Srila Prabhupada, if you're interested to see that. Discussing such things.
I have a question. Please, mic pass karo.
Of course, of course, we're not just teaching an academic subject. We also have chanting and dancing, prasadam. It's a joyful process. So that we find all over the world that many people, in the beginning, they either don't like or they don't understand the philosophy, but they come again for the chanting and dancing and the prasadam. And they find there's something, and they're finding the devotees are so happy. They like to come again and again. So that's a consideration also.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, related that farm community. As we are living in Bombay from a long time, and that
you just go and see. Then then you ask questions. Better you go. You go and see. If you have any idea that we're not just talking complete nonsense and it might have some relevance to your life, you go and see. What does a Norwegian blue parrot look like? Do you know? No, I don't either. If you see one, you might know. Just by talking about it, how can you know? Then you go and see.
Maharaj, one more. Okay. You was talking about 200. Out of 200, only 2 will remain. Now, why these numbers are less?
Why does it become less? Because the whole idea of speaking indirectly is to get many people to come, right? Because you're afraid if you tell them the truth, they'll all run away. So if you speak indirectly, yes, I don't know, I didn't find out what indirect preaching is, but whatever nonsense they talk, then the idea is to bring many people. I guess that's the idea, isn't it? To bring many people in. But then actually if you speak the truth, then the number is going to go down, isn't it? Once you start speaking about no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication, get up before 4 o'clock every morning, the number's going to go down. Isn't it? In Russia, they're really into this. Ayurveda, yoga, healthy living, teaching all these things. And they get huge crowds to come for listening to all these things. But then, how many of them ever take up Krishna consciousness seriously? So it's not that they get huge crowds of people becoming serious about Krishna consciousness. And again, there are those who do take it up. They're also all mixed up with all this mysticism and kundalini and all this kind of thing that we talk about. Get people to read Prabhupada's books. Everything becomes clear by reading these books. How many of you are you reading Srila Prabhupada's books seriously? Yeah, that's really where the change happens. Those who regularly study Prabhupada's books, there has to be a change of consciousness. Preaching means to change people's consciousness. that people are going in the wrong way, with the wrong idea. So to understand that I am not part of this world, I belong in the spiritual world, I'm a servant of Krishna, has to change people's consciousness. That Bhakti Vikas Swami he called, what is that? People's Viparit Buddhi Parivartan Kara. He defined preaching as, anyway, you can understand, Viparit Buddhi Parivartan Kara, to change people's intelligence, which is going in the opposite way. So that is required. Prabhupada's books, Shastra is very powerful. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, presented as it is very powerful. Vidyate hridaya granthis chidyante sarva sangshayaha. This is the effect of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. That the knot on the heart, there's a knot on the heart. It means strong attachment by which ties us in this material world. That is broken by hearing the message of Bhagavatam. And all our doubts are smashed by hearing this. So, read Srila Prabhupada's books. You can listen to his recorded lectures also. They're all available now in English and Hindi regularly here. That is a sound. The sound of Srila Prabhupada's voice is a sound which is directly from the spiritual world. That changes that enters people's hearts and changes their consciousness. It's heart to soul. Otherwise, if we say indirect preaching, it means it's all on the mental platform. You're trying to juggle around with people's egos and don't upset them, all this kind of thing. So there may be some place for that, but I'm sorry, I'm not sophisticated enough. I can never understand it. When we have what Prabhupada has given us, such powerful, life-changing message, which everyone can take. It's not intellectually difficult to understand. Everyone's suffering. If you don't understand you're suffering, you're simply an animal. Everyone's suffering. There is a cure. Why are we suffering? Because we identify with this body. We take birth again and again. We're eternal spirits, especially here in India. People can understand this. So read Prabhupada's books. Encourage people to read Srila Prabhupada's books. And listen to his lectures. This will have a very powerful effect. Even to think I am preaching is a kind of a ahankar. I am a preacher. We are all simply trying to assist Srila Prabhupada in his mission. That's all. Yeah. Preaching means to change people's consciousness. That can be done by very powerful, pure devotees. The message, spiritual message from the spiritual world, the consciousness-changing message. So we can simply assist to deliver that message. That's all. We shouldn't think, I am a preacher, I am changing, I am doing. That's another kind of foolishness. We can simply carry the message, same message that was spoken by Krishna to Brahma, and Brahma spoke it to Narada, and Narada spoke to Vyasa, and Vyasa spoke to Madhvacharya, and in this way the same message is coming down since time immemorial. In fact, Narada chastised Vyasa for his indirect preaching. Isn't that, who's read Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto? Yeah. So how did the Srimad Bhagavatam come to be written? Because Narada chastised Vyasa. You've done all this indirect preaching, and people, it's not clear what the actual message is. So you better make up and give the actual message. Vedyam Vastavam Atra Vastu. The real message is Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, we'll finish there. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.